tell you something that might shake the way you see yourself, especially if you're an older man. Age. It's not your disadvantage. It's not the thing holding you back. It's your superpower, but only if you know how to use it. Here's the truth. Women, especially younger women, aren't just drawn to the surface. The looks, the hairline, the bank account. Those things fade or shift over time. What pulls us in and keeps us there? The intention behind a man's presence. And that's where so many older men go wrong. They try to compete in the same way a 25-year-old does, instead of fully owning what they already have that younger men can't fake. Because when an older man steps into his presence, and I mean fully steps in, it changes the game completely. Today, I'm going to break down 6 things older men do that make women not just notice, but get completely hooked. And here's the part most guys miss. None of them have to do with perfect abs, luxury cars, or chasing approval. They all have to do with how you make her feel. So let's start with the first and maybe the most magnetic quality. 1. The power of certainty. There is something deeply magnetic about a man who moves with certainty. And no, I'm not talking about arrogance, ego, or fake alpha energy. I'm talking about that deep-rooted clarity that you can feel the moment he walks into a room. It's in the way he carries himself. It's in the calm, steady look in his eyes. And most importantly, it's in what he doesn't have to say. A man who moves with certainty doesn't need to convince anyone of his worth. He doesn't need to over-explain, over-perform, or overcompensate. He already knows who he is and what he brings to the table. And trust me, women feel that instantly. Because women are intuitive. We're tuned into energy in ways most men underestimate. We can tell when a man is second-guessing himself, when he's unsure, when he's trying to get our validation before giving his own. A man who's uncertain will hesitate before calling or texting, overthink his messages, wondering if he's saying the right thing, worry if he's enough, if we'll stay, or if we're losing interest. That constant self-questioning, it's not leadership, it's not direction, and it's definitely not attractive. Now, compare that to a man who moves with certainty. He doesn't wait for a green light, he creates the path. He doesn't ask, "Do you want me?" He decides, "I want you, and I'm going to show you why I'm worth choosing too." And here's the beautiful part. Certainty isn't about having a perfect life or all the answers. You can be flawed. You can be figuring things out. You can be in the middle of your own growth journey and still be certain. Because certainty is about knowing your core and refusing to let temporary feelings or outside opinions shake that foundation. When an older man lives this way, he becomes more than attractive. He becomes emotionally safe. And that's something women crave more than anything. You become the anchor in her storm, the ground when everything else feels shaky, the masculine container that allows her to relax into her feminine. She doesn't want to carry the emotional labor of leading the relationship. She wants to lean in, not lead. But she can only do that with a man worth leaning into. A man with certainty. It's in the way you make plans without fumbling. Tell her what you want without waiting for her to say it first. Hold eye contact without darting away. That quiet strength tells her, "I'm here. I'm not afraid of connection because I'm not afraid of myself." And once she feels that, she doesn't just notice you, she remembers you. Quick thought for you. If you've ever wondered why women sometimes pull away when you try harder, this might be why. Certainty is magnetic. Neediness repels. If this is landing with you so far, keep listening, because what I'm about to share next might be the one thing that flips your entire dating life around. 2. Listening to understand, not just respond. Let me ask you something. When a woman talks to you, are you actually listening? Or are you just waiting for your turn to talk? Be honest with yourself here, because this is where so many men, even great men, completely drop the ball. And the older you are, the more this skill matters. See, women don't fall for you just because of what you say. They fall because of how you make them feel. And nothing makes a woman feel more seen, more respected, more safe than a man who truly listens to her. I don't mean nodding along while you plan your next clever reply. I don't mean half listening while you scroll on your phone. I mean the kind of listening where she can feel that she's the only thing in the room capturing your attention. Here's the shift you need to make. Most men listen to reply. You're filtering her words through your own perspective, looking for an angle, a fix, or a way to make yourself look good in the conversation. But when you listen to understand, you take yourself out of the center and put her experience first. You ask yourself, what is she really telling me? What's underneath her words? And you're not just doing this to score points. You're doing it because you actually care. When you do this, something powerful happens. Her guard drops. She doesn't feel like she has to fight to be heard. She doesn't feel like she has to perform for your attention. She relaxes because she senses you're not in a rush to make it about you. Why this hits differently when you're an older man. Here's the truth. A lot of younger men struggle with this because they're still focused on proving themselves. And when you're in that phase, it's easy to get defensive or to turn every conversation into a competition. But as an older man, you have something younger guys don't. Life experience. You've seen enough, been through enough, that you don't have to center yourself all the time. If you can combine that maturity with genuine curiosity, you instantly stand out. You become the man who doesn't just hear her, you gets her. How to listen like this. Put the phone away. This is basic, but I can't tell you how many men miss it. Presence is impossible if you're multitasking. Let her finish her thought. Don't cut in, even if you think you already know where she's going. The respect is in the patience. Ask one thoughtful follow-up, something that shows you caught the emotional thread, not just the facts. For example, instead of, "When was that?" try, "How did that make you feel in the moment?" Mirror her key words. Subtly repeat important words she used so she feels heard. When you do these things, you're communicating something that's rare. I see you. I value what you think. You matter in this moment. The attraction effect. This is where it gets interesting. When a woman feels deeply understood, she starts to associate you with emotional safety. And safety is the soil where attraction grows. It's counterintuitive, but the man who doesn't rush to impress, who slows down and absorbs her, ends up being the most magnetic. Because he's offering something so many women are starving for in modern dating: genuine, present connection. You stop being just another guy and start being the man who gets her in a way no one else does. And when a woman feels that, she's not looking over your shoulder at the next guy. She's leaning in. She's opening up. She's already picturing how much deeper that connection could go. If you've ever been told you're a great listener, that's good. But if you've ever had a woman tell you she feels understood by you, that's the real win. That's the difference between a nice conversation and a lasting impression. So, If certainty is the foundation, then listening to understand is the doorway she walks through to connect with you. And once she's inside, that's where the next quality comes in. One that turns a good connection into unforgettable attraction. Next up, presence over performance, where most men try way too hard and end up killing attraction instead of building it. 3. Presence over performance. Let me tell you a secret most men never hear. If you're performing, you're already losing. Performance is what you do when you think you have to earn attraction. Presence is what you have when you know you already bring value. The difference? Performance says, look at me. Look at what I can do. Presence says, here I am. This is me. Take it or leave it. And here's what most older men don't realize. The more you try to impress her, the less she trusts what she's feeling around you. Because it starts to feel like a show, not a genuine connection. What presence actually looks like presence is about being fully grounded in the moment. Not thinking about your next line. Not checking if she's smiling or laughing enough. Not running a mental checklist of whether you've ticked every box to, yes, win her over. Is that calm, unshakable energy that says, I'm here, I'm listening, I'm not rushing, I'm not going anywhere. Presence is felt, and women can feel it immediately, just like they can feel when you're performing. How performance kills attraction. When you perform, you're sending the message that you're unsure if you're enough as you are, and that insecurity leaks out even if your words sound confident. A performance-heavy man overlaughs at her jokes to seem agreeable, tells exaggerated stories to seem impressive, fills every silence because he's scared of the quiet. All of this creates pressure, and pressure is the enemy of connection. Think about it. When you're trying to impress, you're in your head. When you're present, you're in the moment. And in the moment is where attraction actually happens. Why older men can master this faster. Here's where your age works in your favor. By now, you've likely lived through enough moments, the wins, the losses, the awkward silences, to realize that real connection doesn't come from pushing harder. It comes from holding space, from letting her see you without the extra polish, from allowing the pauses because you know they're not empty. They're where intimacy grows. You have stories. You have depth. You have experiences younger men simply haven't lived through yet. That gives you something they can't copy, an authentic presence that doesn't need flash to hold attention. Building your presence muscle. Presence isn't just a dating skill, it's a life skill. Here's how to strengthen it. Get comfortable with silence. Next time you're with someone, let a pause breathe. Look them in the eye. Don't rush to fill it. Slow your movements. Rushing signals anxiety. Moving with intention signals control. Check your body language. Shoulders relaxed, jaw unclenched, eyes engaged. Your body tells the truth before your mouth does. Focus on her, not yourself. Instead of thinking about what she's thinking of you, tune into what you're feeling about her in real time. The attraction ripple effect. When you show up with presence instead of performance, 3 things happen. She relaxes because she's not being pressured to give constant feedback or validation. She opens up because she senses you're actually here with her, not just in your own head. She becomes curious because presence leaves space for her to wonder about you instead of you giving her everything up front. That curiosity? It's the fuel of attraction. Here's something to sit with. A man who can stand in his presence without rushing to fill the space becomes unforgettable. Not because he did the most, but because he was the most in the moments they shared. And when you combine that with the next quality, the ability to hold healthy boundaries, you stop being just an attractive man. You become a man she respects deeply. And respect is the foundation for lasting attraction. Up next, boundaries that build respect. Why the word no might be the most attractive thing you ever say to a woman. 4. Boundaries that build respect. If there's one thing I wish every man over 40 understood, it's this. The fastest way to lose a woman's respect is to be available for anything at any time with no limits. I know. We've all been told women love a man who's always there for them. And yes, reliability matters, but there's a difference between being reliable and being a pushover. Boundaries aren't walls to keep women out. They're frameworks that show her you value yourself. And a woman can't value you if you don't value yourself first. Why yes isn't always attractive. Here's the reality. Constant yes. Men are forgettable. They fade into the background because they don't challenge her. There's no edge, no mystery, no self-definition. When you say yes to everything she wants, even when it costs you time, energy, or peace of mind, you're sending one loud, silent message. My needs come second. Why this is your secret advantage. As an older man, you've likely lived through your share of emotional storms. You've had relationships that tested your patience, work situations that challenged your ego, and personal trials that humbled you. If you've truly reflected on those experiences, you have something younger men often can't fake: the ability to navigate emotions without losing your center. This doesn't mean you're emotionless. It means your emotions don't control you. Practical ways to show emotional maturity. Pause before reacting. If she says something that stings, take a breath. Let your first response be curiosity, not defensiveness. Name what you're feeling. I feel frustrated right now is more powerful than silent resentment. Don't punish honesty. If she shares a hard truth, thank her before you address it. Stay solution-focused. Arguments end faster when you're aiming to resolve, not win. How it deepens attraction. Women are wired to feel safe before they feel fully open. And safety isn't just about physical protection. It's about emotional protection. When you can be her calm in the storm, her safe space to be herself, and the man who can talk through anything without running or raging, you stop being just fun to date. You become the man she can envision a life with. That's the quiet power of emotional maturity. It doesn't just attract her, it keeps her. Quick reality check. If you've ever had a relationship where the physical chemistry was incredible, but it fizzled fast, emotional immaturity was probably the silent killer. The spark isn't enough. It's how you handle the low points that decides if you get to keep the high points. Bringing it all together. So let's recap the 5 traits that make older men magnetic to women. Self-assurance, knowing your worth without overcompensating. Curiosity over ego, listening to understand, not just to respond. Presence over performance, being fully in the moment without the need to impress. Boundaries that build respect, saying no when it matters and meaning it. Emotional maturity, handling feelings with steadiness and grace. When you layer these together, you're not just attractive for your age. You're attractive, period. You stop competing with younger men because you're not even in the same game anymore. And the women who connect with you, they're drawn to you for reasons that don't fade with time. Final thought. If you're serious about becoming the kind of man women can't forget, don't just file this away as good advice. Start practicing one trait today. And if you've made it this far, you clearly care about becoming that man. So follow along. There's more where this came from, and you're going to want to see how these traits work in real, unfiltered conversations. Because at the end of the day, looks may get her attention, but this is what keeps her looking at you